one.
Everybody, John Townsend here. Welcome to November. First time I've had this show on November 2022. So, gosh, it's Thanksgiving and Christmas season, all that. We're here for an hour. It's called the Dr. Townsend Live Show. And very simply, what we do is we just help people with struggles and problems and challenges of life, relationship things, family things, dating, marriage, kids, grandkids, grandparents, parents. I mean, everything, work relationships, and also leadership, coaching issues, business issues. We really want to help in that kind of that full spectrum of whatever you do when you are awake. We won't help much with the sleep part. We do have some help with sleep issues, but mainly what you do when you're awake. So love our community and love to help every way we can. And so we're on for an hour from 2 to 3 Pacific time every Wednesday that I'm in town. So I want to also let you meet our great producer, Stacy, who makes the magic happen. Stacy, say hi to this nice group here.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live Show today. If you are joining us via Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook, then you already have the call-in number. But if you came by this in a different way, I'm going to go ahead and give the information to you now. So you can write this down and call in with your questions. The number is 1-877-853-5257. Again, 1-877-853-5257. When you dial that number, you'll need to enter an ID code, and that ID code is 876-5437-2012. Again, 876-5437-2012. This is a call-in show only, even though we use the Zoom platform. So go ahead and disable your camera as soon as you call in. You'll be in the waiting room, and once it's your turn, you'll be connected with John. So without further ado, we'll get started.
Now, is this where you want me to talk about something that I want to talk about, or is this time to wait for the next call? I'm kind of lost here, producer. What do you want me to do?
Okay, so today's topic was on advice, giving and receiving advice. If you got the e-blast, everyone, then you already saw that. And then John can talk about that while I'm getting the first caller on the line.
Okay, we always have this sort of producer talker thing where she really is in charge, but she's got to let me know, do I go left or I go right? Sometimes as people want content, like here's some points about some topic. Sometimes, hey, somebody's on the phone. So now I have my guidance. Yes, it was about advice, the last e-blast that came out a few hours ago. And it has a lot to do with the fact that advice is wonderful. I mean, there's kind of these two positions of advice. Some people don't get advice when they should. And so you see somebody in a really bad relationship and you want to think, this guy's track record is no good, or, he seems creepy to me, but you don't want to harsh their love and all that. So you don't say anything, and then it's a big nightmare. And then a year later, she says, "Why didn't you say anything?" And you think, I didn't want to bother you, but she would have appreciated it, right? So that's the not enough. And then on the other side, there's the too much, and we call those the advice monsters. They live and breathe advice. And if you say anything from, it's bad weather, well, you need to get an umbrella. And have you looked at what time the sun goes down? You got to make sure that you're driving it. Are your tires high enough? Because in bad weather, anything they do is too much advice. But we need action steps. If you're going to have that balance between not too much advice and not enough advice, you need action steps. So if you know it's the right thing to do, and I always ask permission, unless it's a 911, arterial bleeding situation, I say, are you interested in some advice? Some people say, no, I want to figure it out. Some people say, yes. You give them an action step. You don't give them like vague advice like, be who you are today. Or here's the one even better. Don't be who you're not today. Well, I can just hang my hat on that and go to sleep. It's like, have this conversation, or go have that meeting, or say no to this person, or open up more because you're so closed down, or take that, go for that job and be bold, or don't waste your time or stay in your priorities. Go the action steps. Action makes the brain move. That makes the brain, make changes. I love our military. And there's a great statement by one of my Marine friends. He said, a bad decision is better than no decision. And with a few exceptions, that's really, really true. Why? Because you've got initiative, you've got movement, you've got momentum. And everybody who knows physics knows takes much less energy to move an object that is already in motion, just the wrong way. So you want to tell it to go over 90 degrees, there's 90 degrees, than to start an object that's not moving at all and get it going. So that's why advice is so helpful. It gets people moving, even if it's like not quite the right way. You can fine tune those sorts of things. So give advice that's action based. Be specific. It really makes a difference to people. All righty. So
Okay,
I think we got
sounds good.
somebody on it. What's up,
Yeah.
Stacy?
Your first caller of today. Caller, you are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your name, your first name only, and where you're calling us from, and your question for Dr. Townsend today.
Thank you. My name is Mike from Ohio. We asked our sons, 38 and 40, for a meeting to discuss how our relationships could be strengthened. We felt they were holding us at arm's length with minimal contact. This was last November 2021. They used the meeting to air general grievances for a lifetime and informed us we were wonderful parents of children, terrible parents of teens, and horrendous parents of adults.
Ouch.
They demanded we change, but they would not tell us what we needed to change. They told us, I'm quoting, do the homework and figure it out for yourselves. They also said even with the changes, it would take years to establish a good relationship. We still don't know what we did to trigger the attack. They cut us off from all contact now with them and our grandchildren. Where do we go from here?
Mike, first off, I am so disheartened to hear this. I mean, here's a guy that people would kill to have a dad that says, we'd like to make things better. They would kill to have a dad, and instead of a dad that's, I don't have a problem, I don't want to talk about this. Hey, I'm drinking too much. By the way, I've got it all together. Here you are, you're not being so humble and so loving to say, we'd like to know we do better. So I didn't hear both sides of the story, but from the side I'm hearing is I have issue with the way your sons handle this. It's basically, I mean, I get it about that you were great at this stage and not great at this stage. Okay, pass on that. That's not the issue. The issue that's really the worst is that you're in limbo because they did not tell you change in these areas. It's sort of like somebody who says, suppose one of your boys applies for a job or gets fired and they say, yeah, we need you here. What can I do to change? We won't tell you. Figure it out. I don't kind of know anything in business or in buying a car or in building a house or parenting or anything where it's ever fair to say, you don't get any kind of idea from me. So let's think of solutions. And I'm just sorry to hear that. Yeah. I would still not give up yet. And I'll tell you why, because there are times if all they want to do is play, well, the game is gotcha. In my world, we call it gotcha. So you can try this. We'll be more positive. No, that wasn't it. Gotcha. No, we'll be deeper, more vulnerable. No. That wasn't it. Gotcha. We'll ask, go give you more money. No, that gotcha. And gotcha can go on forever. Well, plus they've already told you if you get it right, it's several years already. But I know that I'm a parent, I know how I would feel. It's sort of like, maybe it's worth it because they're my kids, if it's something doable. I would come at them again, respond in some, warm way as much as you can, and say, we're at odds. We feel helpless. And Mike, I would not want you to go into how they made you feel. Sometimes parents do this. You hurt me, you wounded me. That just escalates things when somebody's got the blame gotcha attitudes. Just come and say, we're stuck. In other words, talk about your own stuckness, not about how they did bad things. It would be, your mom and I feel helpless. We love you. We feel stuck. We feel a little overwhelmed. We'd love to do what we can, but we don't even know where to start. We don't even know where to start to what to change. And so what we'd like to propose is a meeting with the four of us and a qualified licensed counselor who works on these matters and at least gives some direction. We'll pay for it. We'll pay for the session or sessions because we're so concerned. Would that be acceptable? That can do a world of difference. Now, on the show, people say, yeah, well, that didn't work. I tried that. So let's say it didn't work. The next thing I would do is if they say, we don't want to do that, you got to figure out that with or without a counselor, we're not involved. I think I would probably say, I'd like one more conversation with you. And it's just kind of a Hail Mary conversation. If you won't tell us what's wrong, and if you won't help us bring a professional in, one more conversation. Is there anything else to do? It's a Hail Mary. Is there any creative win-win thing that can happen? For example, I have a practice where I have a reconciliation practice. I send out questionnaires to alienated parties, whether it's husband and wife or two pastors or two business folks, and you fill out the questionnaire and you come back and there's a structure to it. They may say, no, that's just us working too much. That's fine. And then I would say I think it'd be the last meeting. We'll do anything, but we just can't read your mind. And if they say, what?
We have not made a move in over a year on our part. We've let them have their space. So we should move now and try to do this.
Oh, right? If you had called me earlier, I would have advocated this sooner. I don't think you should have waited a year. But that's water under the bridge. So I would just say, you've been thinking about it. And counselor's first choice, great. And if they say no, then can we have a reconciliation meeting? Maybe there's a structure we can use. No. Then you just say, we love you deeply, and we are so sorry for anything we've done to hurt you guys. Let us know if you ever want to tell us some basic steps of what we can do. And until then, we'll probably, if I was a parent, God doesn't like write people off, right? I'll probably say, we'll probably check in every quarter, send you a phone call or something, maybe once a month, and just say, hey, love you, how you doing? And we'll do that. You don't have to answer. I would keep doing that just because it's your kid. And that's what I would do until the day that maybe they start thinking we can give them a few steps. That's where I would go, Mike.
Should we, I don't want to say divide and conquer. It was very difficult talking to them. It was very difficult talking to both of them at the same time. Should we make an attempt to do separate if they?
Yes. Yes, if they would be open to that. Whenever I get a family, I work with a lot of families, and there's a lot of alienation. What I'll tell them is, we'll try the group thing, and if it just goes crazy because there's so many issues and you lose the structure, I'll say, we're going to the building block mode. And building blocks is 1-on-1, 2-on-1, or whatever. Very small, because then you can really get to a person without a lot of chaos. I would suggest that, and that's a good suggestion. It's often helpful.
Thank you so much.
All right, man. God bless you. Keep it up. Guys, God never says, get your act together. I'm not going to tell you why. Now, he doesn't tell us everything to do. He doesn't say, well, start going to bed at 10 o'clock and, get another job and move to Ohio. I mean, sometimes he does because he's God, but normally he doesn't. But he often offers a path, like you're missing something, you're in denial of something. He loves us enough that his goal is not to play gotcha. And so we shouldn't be playing gotcha with each other. All right, who's up now?
Absolutely. Okay, next caller. Caller, you are live on the Dr. Townsend live show. Go ahead and tell us your first name and where you're calling from and your question for Dr. Townsend today. Caller, are you with us?
I think your name is Melissa, and we can see your nice name there. And
can you hear me?
There you are. Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead and tell us your first name and where you're calling from and your question for Dr. Townsend.
I'm so delighted to talk to you. I didn't expect this, but anyway, my name's Melissa, and I live in Mission Viejo, California, Orange County. And I used to attend Mariners, your Monday Night Solutions, religiously. Loved them.
Thank you. I hope it was helpful.
Yes. My question is about building trust in a relatively new marriage. It is 4 years old. And here I am in my mid-50s, and my husband was a widow when we met. And we had very different life experiences up to meeting each other. I was divorced for 15 years, and so I was single. And he was married up until 6 months before I met him, and his wife passed away. So he wasn't a bachelor or single for very long. He really was married for 32 years. So we've got different life experiences. And there were some things that were hurtful in our dating period where I feel like trust was kind of broken on my end toward him. So he has the pain. Does that make sense? He has the pain of not understanding.
How did you violate the trust, Melissa?
You know, well, I was still talking with somebody that I was involved with as we were dating. I hadn't cleaned that up entirely.
And you and him, you and your current, y'all had an agreement that you were exclusive. That was understood you were exclusive, yet you were still finishing things up with this guy, and that was the violation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I regret that. And I have said so. And my own codependency stopped me from being able to completely shut the door on that previous relationship. And then when I saw that it was hurtful, oh man, I shut it down right away. And I said, you're the priority. And so please forgive me, And so in our counseling, it was agreed that he could have access to my phone. I understand that. I understand wanting to build from the ground up again, but I have felt a lack of, it's been 4 years and I still feel like I'm sort of under the microscope. And there's a lot of fear on his part.
What will he say that communicates to you that he's still fearful and doesn't trust you? Give me some words, Melissa.
Okay. I guess I have to bring up another example because it's very specific. Before we were exclusive, so 2 dates. After 2 dates, I went on a ski trip, and there was a I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it, but it was a ski trip with a girlfriend, and it was a one-night stand. I'm not proud of that, but it happened, and it's in the past.
Okay, so you had a one-night stand with a guy. You're in a trip away from your current. Right.
Yes, and there was no contact with that person at all whatsoever. It was like done and dusted. It was over. And my husband, after we were married, looked in my phone and saw a text from this person around that time when it was happening. It was just 1 week. And I regret it. I can't even believe that text was still there. I'm embarrassed, but it really was over. And we had not had that discussion of exclusivity when this happened. We had not even kissed. I didn't know if there was going to be a third date. Okay. So the profound hurt that he felt when he found out about this thing that happened during our early dating has stayed as an anchor hanging over our head, like a guillotine. I don't know what to say. And I feel like I can't get out of the doghouse.
Right. So it's a situation, Melissa, where we make a mistake or two, and they're not small mistakes, they're medium mistakes. They're not the worst, but they're significant. And you totally own it. And you totally lay yourself on the carpet, say, mea culpa, I'm so sorry. For some reason, he's not accepting that. And
yeah, because
now I asked you earlier, what words does he say that let you know that he doesn't trust you? You said, well, I got to tell a story, but I haven't put together what the story about the one night stand has got to do with what words he's saying today to let you know why he doesn't trust you. I need to get that piece.
Yes. Today it shows up in a behavior, like doesn't want me to really ever go away on the weekend with most my book club ladies that are in their 50s.
Because something might happen.
Right. And I understand that. And I said, how can I make this safe for you?
So you're asking the right questions. I'm totally getting it. And I don't know what's in, he's not here. I don't know what's his head. So I've got to kind of use you here. So in your counseling, y'all got counseling, right?
18 months of couples.
Okay. Did that solve this? Not solve this? Well, I mean, what was the outcome? That's a big issue. How was that dealt with at the end of 18 months? Where were y'all in that issue?
I would say no measurable progress, because counseling for him felt like torture. He's from England. He doesn't do counseling. Bless his heart. Counseling was for crazy people. And so he never really warmed up to being there. And I was
okay. Now let me take you inside the session. This happens a lot in the clinical world. And at which time does the therapist says, Sam, she made mistakes and she's totally repenting and owning. And what is this keeping you from learning to trust her again and forgive her and accepting who she is as a different person? Did the counselor confront his resistance?
Wow.
His pushback? Did the counselor go after that?
No, I wish I had heard those very words. It would have made a big difference.
That's what should have happened, Melissa.
What was so busy happening was exploring abandonment issues for him, why this was triggering.
That's good.
I understand that. I understand that's important as part of the puzzle.
Did he make any? I mean, that's a huge thing. That's where I would have gone too.
Yeah.
But did he make any progress in how his childhood abandonment tied into how he triggers with you?
No, it was never connected because
so the therapist got stuck in the past and didn't start saying, how does it affect the present?
Yeah. When we'd come home, he'd go like this: I am not defective. I don't know why you think I'm defective just because of my childhood. I said, you're not defective at all. You're hurt. You're hurt from what things,
Okay. So you're calling me because has there been a recent incident, Melissa?
Yes, we're going through this beautiful marriage mentoring program at our church, and we meet with another couple, and we had a session on Monday with them, and the topic was forgiveness. And don't you know, when we're working on our workbook and answering the questions before we met with the couple, there was just like, you could just feel the magnetism in the air, the repulsion. I don't want to talk about this forgiveness. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I feel, and I understand that I think he feels like if he forgives, he condones.
Sure.
And I said, so it doesn't mean that. I reject what happened. I do not like what happened. And I have said to him, and it made a difference when I said, I am truly sorry for the pain that my actions caused you. And he said that made a difference because I think he just obviously wanted to be heard, how much it hurt.
Yeah. It's this kind of situation, Melissa, where he does obviously, I mean, everything I can tell from the armchair look at this, he has the sort of a profile that you see of a nice person.
Totally.
Who's had deep abandonment and then has coped with that by shutting down into what we would call a rigid, never again approach.
Yes.
I will never again let anybody hurt me. And if they do, I'm going to abandon them like I was abandoned. I might not leave my marriage, but he doesn't have the mechanisms in his head besides the rigid, never again approach. The mechanism he has the mechanism he needs is, I got to be honest about this. I've got to, say my part. I've got to, do my protest. I've got to see if she changes. I've got to see if I've got to change. We're going to have the test of time, and I'm going to learn how to forgive and then heal and accept. Those aren't tools he has. But the problem is the rigid, never again approach is closed to tools. So
yes,
here's what I want to do. Let's just have the conversation. Let's see where it goes. So you be him with all of that, and I'm going to be Melissa, and trying to break through for some actions. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Hey, honey, can we talk?
Sure.
We're in the mentoring thing, and it's good material, but obviously it seemed like it sort of was uncomfortable for you. Is that fair to say?
Oh, it was so difficult. We were both crying. Yeah, it was difficult.
Okay, but But I got to test you on this. I don't know if it's difficult because you know in his head he is, or if he is verbally admitting it's difficult.
Okay.
You got to give me that guy. Give me the defensive guy, not because you're kind of intuitive and you know what he's thinking. That's not going to do us any good.
So go ahead with your question. You're saying,
So I was just thinking about our marriage mentoring, and it mattered to me. It felt like it was certainly uncomfortable for me with all we've been through. Was it uncomfortable for you as well, honey?
Okay, I'll be him now.
You are now him.
Maybe maybe a little. I mean, I don't know how we do this. I just don't know how we do this. It just doesn't completely make sense.
Honey, help me understand.
This is hard.
No, I get it. Tell me exactly what the this is, please.
The concept of forgiveness is really hard.
It is very hard.
Because I just don't know if I can trust.
Now, are you crying because Melissa's crying or because husband's crying?
Probably Melissa's crying.
It feels more like Melissa crying here.
And he's not mean.
No, I get it, but I got to get you to toughen up a little bit on this role play. You're so intuitive. I love your intuition, but it's getting in the way. It's blurring our boundaries here. So subject and object are really object and subject. We're not going to get anywhere.
Totally.
For a while, take that wonderful intuition and emotion expression you got, put it over here in the back burner hit, and you be him.
Be the boy. Okay.
You be him. Right. So tell me what you mean about the it, honey.
I just don't like talking about this stuff.
Gotcha.
It's just too painful. I don't like it.
It's very painful. And I get it. And from what you've been through, totally makes sense.
And by the way, I'm being my husband right now. And by the way, every time we get into these fights and arguments, I really feel like you're leaving anyway.
He would say that?
Yeah, he'll say that. I feel like
we're getting somewhere here. Okay, whoa, that was great. So can I provide sort of my side of this to help a little bit, honey?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to leave you. And I know that you may not believe it because I haven't been a perfect person, but I am, even in our mess, I am so in love with you and I want to be so stable for you. So I have something else to talk about, but I just want to start with that.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can receive that, honey, or are you just not?
I hear you, but I don't feel it inside because I just don't believe it. Because I think there's part of me that is so scared. I don't want to get hurt like that. I can't come back.
Wait, that sounds like Melissa again.
No.
He says this?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you guys are better off than I thought. This is not bad. That was really good psychological insight for a very rigid person. Unusual. Yeah. It's unusual. It's very good. Okay. Well, I got it. I understand. And I know that I'm not the person that could fix this because here I am on the other side of the couch. And so I know that part of this, maybe all, has been because of my two sins.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Because I feel like if it happened once, it'll happen again. And I have to be watching for it.
Okay. And I would never want to talk you out of that. I mean, that's how it is for you. So where we are then is, I guess we can stay in the state of sort of me a bit lonely, quite frankly, because I love you and I don't get much of you, of the deeper parts, but maybe stay in the marriage and me kind of be lonely and you stay in the marriage and sort of stay safe with me and not get close to me. So that's one option. And maybe we should have that where I'm lonely, but I stay with you and you're afraid of me and you stay with me. And we just do that for another 40 years. So option one, because like you said, you don't know what to do to get out of it. And I'm the bad guy in this, I guess. So I can't fix it. So that's option one, sweetheart. The other is we give healing another shot in a better position, in a better way. You tell me.
I definitely think there's I want closeness with you, and I don't know how to do the healing because I'm trying.
You
And
are
I
trying.
am going to my own therapy. So I'm trying
I know.
because I want this to be better.
Right. You're doing a lot of things right that give me so much hope that we can be an awesome couple and get the closest we both desperately want. You're doing so many of the right things.
Well, that makes me feel really good to hear you say that, because it's hard for me to go every week and talk about these difficult things. So thank you for seeing how hard this is for me.
One reason I married you was because of your character. You're a man of integrity and you do difficult things because of the right things. And it helps me to trust you.
Yeah.
And if I don't say that enough, I'm sorry, because your character and your integrity are incredible for me. And I want to be that for you because you need it too. And I haven't been.
Okay. Thank you for saying that too.
I totally believe this to the depths of my heart. So what if we could, because I've been reading, hey, me, I'm kind of a psycho researchy, touchy-feely person, for good or for better, for worse. And I study these things, and I've been reading about this, that when people start to do that hard stuff, I mean, there's a reason that some counseling is very hard because they have to revisit old pain. But the good research says it's not permanent, that the pain we feel is not permanent every single session because it gets worked through. And they talk about how, like, I follow this guy named Townsend. He's kind of weird, but anyway, he says these kind of things. And he talks about how when you face abandonment, abuse, hurt, or whatever, it's like going back to a wound in your arm where you cut yourself and it stings and it's hard. And then you put antiseptic on it, and then you bandage it up, and then you let time pass, and then you put more antibiotics on it, that sort of thing. And over time it gets better. And so for me, I'm certainly not your shrink, but if for every time you go is extremely excruciatingly painful, it means something's going wrong.
Oh, I see. I will interrupt you then right now and tell you that it's not excruciating. It's thought provoking. And sometimes I just feel out of sorts when I come home. I feel like it is opening a can of worms that I didn't want to look at.
Well, honey, that's kind of different. I think I misunderstood, because all this time I've been hearing you were going under torture every time. Our couple session or your individual time, and like you were getting thumb screws on you, and I was thinking, poor husband. So it kind of makes you out of sorts and uncomfortable.
Yeah, you know what, sweetheart? It's actually
the lights are coming on here, honey.
It's a lot better than when we were in couples counseling, because I don't feel under scrutiny. When I'm going one-on-one, I feel understood.
All right. Okay. We are so close to being on the same track that I just want to kiss you, but I'm not doing it because you don't trust me. So here's what I'm thinking is, if we interview, Southern Orange County, California has a lot of good people. And we interview 3 people. I'll go to some friends or some churches or some respected places and say, let's try 3. Let's interview, one-time interview for couples counseling with 3 people. 3 interviews, and just say we're shopping. And you tell them a little bit of the history. The first session's always like 90 minutes.
Yes.
And I'll own my story. But then can you tell your story, which is that you have an issue with therapy because it feels like you're under scrutiny, and you can't, and you're going to be judged, and you're going to be shamed and condemned and all that. And the therapist knows, then I've got to pay attention to that. And so they're careful about that. And when you start to feel, okay, you guys are coming down on me and you're scrutinizing me, I'm under the microscope, the therapist says, did it just happen, Jim? And then you feel like you could say, okay, Melissa still loves me. I just got that trigger.
Yeah.
And they work you through that so that you start to feel like, maybe I'm safe. Maybe I'm almost as safe in the couples thing as I am in my individual thing. Would you be at all open to that if we could find that right therapist who made it safe for you?
I will consider that. I don't want to do it right away, but maybe I just need a few months to get more solid in the work I'm doing, so we can have conversations when I come home sometimes about difficult things without you getting angry. That's the thing. I'm scared of your anger.
Well, that's a turn.
I know.
Okay.
Because I try to bring up.
Listen, I'm running out of time on this.
Okay, you're awesome. I am so appreciating these scripts.
All right.
And,
Now, I
yeah.
think I was kind of feeling, I don't know. I wasn't without hope, but I was, gosh, we got to help here on a very difficult. It's still difficult, but I started feeling more and more that the guy's you know, he's got his issues, but there's what we call inside him a persecutory judge. And the
Okay.
persecutory judge says they're after you. She's going to scream at you. The shrink's going to yell at you. You're going to get condemned. And the persecutory judge stops all growth. That's the purpose of it.
What does it do?
It prohibits and stops all growth.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That makes total
Because it
sense.
says if you deal with this, you're going to feel bad, shamed, abandoned, criticized again. So, hey, I'll just go have a beer and watch the game. So you might tell them, I want to find somebody who was safe, just as safe as your individual one is.
I can totally get with that idea, because I think it
Brilliant.
gives permission to try it again with somebody
go.
understanding that first go around was probably not the best fit for us. And if you want to, I'm so really appreciate your words. And by the way, that persecutory judge makes sense, because these are the words I hear all the time. I'm doing my best.
It's in charge. There is some kind of critical parent there or authority figure that he internalized as a little boy that tells him you're screwing up and they're after you. And it's strong and it's harsh.
Wow. This is a real good nugget. And the real blessing that we have going for us is we do attend church together and we read the Bible in the morning. And we
have so much going. That's what gives me hope. You're doing so many of the right things. You just got to have this other piece in place, I think.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right. One more thing.
Yeah.
If he says months, you say, anyway, we can make it weeks. Just you've been in jail of being the unsafe person for 4 years for stuff that you screwed up on before you were married.
Yeah.
You got to get out of jail. So ask him for weeks.
Okay, I can do that because I can throw a little humor in there.
I kind of would do that.
Thank you so much. That's an awesome idea.
Okay.
Take
care.
You're such a blessing. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Oh, my stars. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you have somebody who can never admit they're wrong and who tighten up when, you want to say, sorry, you're 10 minutes late. Well, everybody beats me up and you beat me up too. Well, they have a persecutory judge. And when they finally get aware of it by some vulnerable work on your part, a lot of times they'll go, ooh, I got this mean person that's kind of saying that everybody's after me, and it helps things. So, hey, before we go to our next call, let me tell you about the Townsend Institute. I know that people say that I should be institutionalized, and they may be right, but we have a graduate program, a fully accredited, all the bells and whistles graduate program for if you want the opportunity. I mean, the opportunity to find that degree you want, to find that job you want, that opportunity, that fulfilling career. We're doing it. We're fully online for your convenience, but we can get you a master's or a credential. If you don't want to go all the way to a master, you get a credential in counseling or a PhD now in counseling. Credential, master's, PhD in counseling. There's 3 programs. That's the first one is counseling. The second one is an executive coaching and consulting. Everybody's kind of getting into coaching these days. You can get a credential or a master's in coaching. And the third one is you can get a credential or a master's in organizational leadership. You can run your entrepreneurial gig. You can be in a family business. You can be in middle management. You can be in the CEO suite. You can be in corporate world. And this will teach you how to lead people well. We also have a bachelor's. If you haven't had the chance to get that degree because you've been working and having kids, you get a bachelor's, which sends you right into the master's. We've been around long enough that our people are getting, you talk about opportunity, great jobs. The feedback is that the jobs are great. Their supervisors and their customers say they're wonderful. They're teaching things. And it's based on all that stuff we talk about and all the books I've written. And we have great professors. So if this is your time to say, I need the opportunity, we want to be there for you. So Stacy's putting the link on the next time we're having our information session. It's one where people from all around the world just kind of zoom in and I answer questions, and our great professors answer questions in counseling and in coaching and in leadership, and it's blowing up and we want you to be part of it. So check it out.
Absolutely. The link is already in the comments for people to check out and click on for December 12th, by the way.
December 12th, the next one. So
That's
a
right.
month can change. A month
Correct.
and 3 days.
And you have a new caller on the line. Caller ending in 351. You are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead and tell us your first name only, where you're calling from, and your question for Dr. Townsend today.
Hi, my name's Jennifer, and I'm calling from Arizona.
Did you say Jennifer?
Jennifer, yes.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. So I am calling in today because I'm a elected official on our school governing board, and we just had an election last night and found out that I'm going to be working with somebody who is going to be very difficult to work with, and just kind of wanted to get some advice and find out which of your books you think would probably be best for a situation like that.
Well, let's talk about the difficulty. What makes them difficult to work with?
So this person, so the school governing board is a non-paid position. You serve for 4 years. And so the person that recently got on is more of a stepping stone.
God bless you for entering the school system in an unpaid position for 3 years of a lot of brain damage just because you believe in kids and education. We need more of you out there. Thank you, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So the reason that I perceive him to be difficult is the reason he's running, or he ran for the school board, was because he wanted to use it as a stepping stone to get into legislation. And
to get into what?
To be a legislator, to kind of move up in the political field, basically.
To be an elected leader?
Yes, he wants to be like a legislator, move up to a state legislation.
Oh, like in
position.
Legislation. Gotcha. All right.
Yep. Yep. So the whole last year that he's been campaigning, he has been basically telling a lot of lies about things that we do in our district, saying that we teach sex ed to students, saying things like we teach critical race theory, all sorts of different things that are not true about our district, and disparaging the members that are on the school board, and lying a lot. And so that has been really difficult to watch. And then finding out last night that now this is a person that I have to work with, and somebody who he doesn't have students in the district. He's never been a teacher. And so I'm just feeling like he's not there for the right reasons. And it's more of like a national rhetoric type thing. And the things that he's saying don't really apply to our district. And so I guess I'm just feeling nervous and feeling like I have a month to prepare to start working with this person.
Tell me your concerns. So when you say work with, I need a feel for, like, are you in meetings with them every day? Are you in Zooms? Are you making decisions with them? Are you guys, how much of what part of his crazy personality is going to interface with you? That'll help me.
Sure. Yep. So we have meetings at least once a month, and then probably there's occasionally like 2 to 3 additional meetings during the month as well that we attend, sometimes just individually with the superintendent, just for like a briefing. But basically, I would be working with him to make major decisions that affect the entire school district. Okay. And so, the last 6 years that I've been on the board, I'm a teacher myself. And so I feel like I understand education. And the people that I've worked with the last 6 years have all been amazing to work with. We're all pretty conservative.
We got kind of an unknown here then, because you have not crossed paths with him in some negative way yet.
No, just watching all of the negative things he's said about our district and
so he lies about everything. So yeah. I guess your concern is, what do I do if we're talking about some issue about education? And what are you concerned about? What do I do if he starts lying? That kind of a thing?
And no, just in general, how to work with him, how to go to a meeting, because I'm so frustrated right now, but how to go to a meeting and to be professional and to be Christian and to not let go of those values and to keep all of that in mind.
Is he chairing the meeting? Are you chairing the meeting? Is some third party chairing the meeting?
I will likely be
in
chairing
the educational world.
Yep.
Somebody's chairing it.
Yeah, no, I will likely be chairing those meetings. Yes.
All right. And it sounds like the most of your contact with him is going to be, well, you said there's going to be some one-on-ones. They're a different problem than the team meetings. So is it going to be mainly one-on-ones or mainly group meetings or what? That will help me.
Yep, mainly group meetings. So we have
Okay.
our study session where we learn about the issues, and then we all
Okay.
talk about.
Okay, so
how we feel about it,
here
and
you
then-
are chairing the meeting, and then he does something blatant, or insults everybody, or lies, or does who knows, yells, screams,
Sure.
has a tantrum. How do I handle that as the chairperson?
Yes.
All right. Okay. First off, the book is called Handling Difficult People. So you have a difficult person, that's how to handle it. So that's kind of way we call it.
Okay.
That's
Yep.
the book. But I work with a lot of boards and teams and councils and stuff. And if I were you, how many people are on when you have the meetings, how many people are attending?
Well, there's 5 board members, and then there's the rest of the district office
All right,
personnel.
and-
So it's probably about 25. Yeah.
25 in one meeting?
Yeah. So the 5 of us are the ones that are talking, but we have different people from the district coming in and explaining new things that they're trying to do, and
Okay,
kind of
so
talk us
they
through
make
like
their
financials.
presentation, but you 5 are listening while the others are making their press. So it's still you 5.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I was
correct.
going to say 25 is impossible. I get it. right.
Nope. Just
When does the first meeting start, Jennifer?
January. It'll be the very beginning of January.
Good. Here's what I would do. I would call the other 4, including the guy, and say, when can we have lunch? One-on-one. 4 one-on-one lunches. You got time for that?
Sure, I can make time.
Make time. And that's the other 4. The other 3 be easy because they're healthy people. There's a lot of trust. And you're just kind of like, here's what I envision for the. How long are you going to be chairman, by the way, chairperson?
Usually it's like 2 years. You're the chairperson.
Okay, and there's a rotation and all that.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so in the next 2 years, I want to have a great time. I want to do a lot for the kids, and thank you for being in this unpaid position. Those 3 are easy, right? And then get with him.
Yep.
and just say, I would listen to him and say, what are your concerns? So, congratulations on being here. I want to partner well with you. What are your concerns? And then let him tell you that, everything's going to hell in handbags. He's going to change it all. And he's just let him rant. Everybody needs to hear the person rant, and then say, great, I hope we can help with all that. Now, what I'm looking forward to is a lot of hearing your side and, you hearing our side. But wait a minute. I might be changing my advice. No, here's what I do. I got it. And just say, anything I can do to make this work better for you. And he'll tell you 2 or 3 things, like make sure I'm heard, or, be open to other ideas, or sure, I'll be happy to. And after we have our first meeting, Bill, I want to have another one-on-one with you because you're new to this, and I want to really make sure we're connected. And can we have a meeting after that? So it's 2 meetings. I'm asking you to do 3 with the 3 easy ones, and then build before. 3 easy ones before, build before, and then after. The reason I say that is because then you've kind of told him, you haven't been me. So you can't go in and say, I've heard you're just a wingnut and your YouTubes are crazy. I think you're a psycho. That's kind of
Right.
We don't want to start that way. You say, as chairperson, I just love having new opinions, and I think you bring a lot of energy. And so I'm looking for anything I can do for you to make it easier and to make this 2 years work. They'll say X, Y, Z. Great, I'll consider it. And then after that, Bill, I'd like for us to meet, the week after that and talk about how that first meeting went. He's probably the guy saying, yeah, everybody listens to me, and I want you to listen to me. That's why. And the second meeting is when you say, you monitor whatever happened. And if he's convivial, you're fine. But if he's disruptive, then you say, great, so glad you were here and everything. I need to let you know as chairperson things that they're not okay. Here's what you did right, but these won't work for me. And you have the tough conversation in private after you have taken good notes on what he did well, but also on the things he did that were disruptive. And you say, this just can't work, Bill. And then if he says, well, I got to have my voice, you say, well, we have rules of respect or whatever. And if you have to, then you say, shall we take it to, I don't know how your system goes. Do we take it to the superintendent? Do we take it to a judge? Who do we take it to? Because we all have the same rules of engagement, of respectful disagreement, alignment, these sorts of things. And when you yelled at that guy, or when you said that everybody was a liar and we had chaos, I have a responsibility to our people not to allow that. So if you can curb that, we're great. But if not, we probably have to go to the next level above us.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely try that. So the hard part with that is there's not really any oversight. Like, you just have to figure it out. So we manage the superintendent. So we can go to him, but there's no oversight. There's nobody really over us. Like, it's up to us to just figure out how to work it out.
All right, I got it. So that can be a problem. If that's the case, then you form a quorum, and you meet with the three sane people, and you say, "You've seen him do it. He's crazy, and he's messing up our entire culture, and I need your help."
Okay.
And then the next time he bullies or yells or screams, the other ones help you, and they say, "That was inappropriate, Bill," and they just start calling it. And sometimes after that, then guys like him escalate and they say bad things about you too. But you can't let the bully win. We've been letting that go too long.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Good luck, Jennifer.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for what you do. I appreciate the educational people so much. But that's what you have to do. Is you always start off vulnerable and win-win and everything. And then the people get it. That's great. But don't let the bully win. Sooner or later, you're going to have to make them escalate. I mean, if you're a history buff, I love history. Think about what Neville Chamberlain did with Hitler. He gave him Poland, so he'd be nice. Bullies are that way. So that's why Henry Cloud and I write books on boundaries all the time, because you gotta have. Anyway, where are we, Stacy?
Okay, I think you have time for one more of the write-in questions. So this one comes from a person that messaged you over on LinkedIn, and her name is Lisa, and she says, I am having an issue with the fact that the holidays are coming, and my husband has approved my in-laws to come and stay with us for an entire month. Normally, it is a week that they come and visit to see the grandkids, and we kind of share holiday time together. But the tickets have already been bought, and he's approved it. The mother and I do not get along at all, and it causes an extreme time of stress in our home for the entire time of the visit. This has been going on for over 15 years. What can I do at this point to allow my husband to know that he needs to have my back? Otherwise, possibly asking him to have his family cancel their trip.
It's so hard when the way God made marriages, that major decisions are to be made collaboratively. Hey, honey, what do you think about this? And it sounds like he just went rogue and kind of dismissed Lisa. What he knows, how he knows you feel, and that's not okay. And it's often on a psychological level. It has to do with some failure in leaving and cleaving of his mom and dad. God made us so that, what the Bible says, leave and cleave, so that you put somebody else first. Now, it doesn't mean that they're perfect, but you put them first, and mom and dad come second. And push comes to shove, unless somebody's an axe murderer, you go with the spouse. And it sounds like there's a part of him that hasn't been able to say, I want to be an adult and not have any emotional dependencies, emotional ties besides love, financial ties or whatever. There's something in him where he hasn't left home. And I'm sorry, hard to be on the other side of it. Well, my first thought was, I would just say, what will it take for you to tell him to come a week? And she tell him that you rethought it and that you and I talked in this week. And a month is a long. If you told me a week or 3 days, I'd say it's Christmas. Watch a lot of Hallmark movies and be nice. Or kind of avoid it. A month is so long, Lisa. I would just say, I love you, but I'm really hurt because you did it without me. And you know how I feel. And I'd like for you to call back and say a month. And say a week. Now he's free to say no. If he says no, we got a plan B. But plan A is make it a week. I can do it a week. Because holidays are not just for you and the kid, or not just for him and his parents, for you and your kids, and it affects everybody. So I want him to be I'd like for him to be a husband and father. Call that out. I'd like for you to be a great husband and father. Make it a week, it'll be that. If he says no, for whatever reason, you can't control what you can't control. So I would do two things. First, I would make the best of the situation and get tons. I don't know if your kids get along with them, but that's great. That's easy. You can go out with your girlfriends and just be gone a lot. Be there enough to say that you were there. Make sure your kids are taken care of. They're the vulnerable ones, but go be with the healthy friends and church activities and sports and goodness gracious, all the ministry activities out there in the holidays. Just get out there and have a life, and just tell them I'll just be gone a lot. So I'll be there for the kids. And don't let the toxicity give you an awful month. So I would do that. And just tell them in advance, that's what I'll be doing. That's my plan. And so I'm telling you, that's kind of how I'm surviving. But what I would do next is once you're at January, what's the official end of the year? January 3rd. I would sit down with the husband and I would say, this will never happen again. And I love you, but that was so deeply hurtful and dismissive of me as a partner in life. And so we're going to get some counseling because it's major. Because this, if you're thinking about doing it in Easter or July 4th or Labor Day or Memorial Day or Thanksgiving 2023, it's not going to happen. So we need to see somebody because this is a major, major violation. And you go see somebody. So one is how to survive. A, he says, okay, I love you, mom and dad, change up the plan. B, go get a life out there, make sure the kids are okay. 3, look for the future. You may not have a good 2022, but you've got to have a good 2023. All righty. Well, that's it. Thank you for being here. A lot of tough calls today, but that's what life is. Life is really good. It's really good. So many blessings life, but it's hard too. So thank you for watching and listening to the hard stuff, but there are always solutions for these things. So we'll see you next week.